Hello, everyone. You could tell that I'm in a good place today, and I'm only drinking water. Rest assured that when I reach out for my beverage, it's simply hydration.
So you say.
Kendra, how you doing?
I'm great, Americo. Thank you for having me again. How are you?
Well, it's not having you. It's we're in this together.
Right.
There's no having us join. We're attached. We're committed to this the strategy session. This is now episode number 7, I think,
Woohoo.
and we're just plugging away. We have an exciting show today. I know that I'm going to get to take a back seat, and you have some fantastic stuff that you want to share with our community. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes to join us. I know we had a decent amount of people register for the event. Those of you who are joining Team Live, we are excited to have you join us. Let us know where you're joining us from. If you have questions, as always, drop them in the comments or join us up on stage. I've dropped the link in the chat. Be happy to allow anyone to join the conversation.
Right.
Um,
I love having other people on stage, and I noticed from the people that had registered, there were quite a few other marketing professionals registered. So if we have any other marketing professionals joining, yeah, join us and put your thoughts into the conversation as well.
okay, so we see some people coming in. I see the number of people who have joined us. Uh, just say hello. Let us know who's there. There's no not going to twist anyone's arm to come up on stage, but I'd love to hear how far our reach is and who's participating in this conversation. Here we are, uh, South Mississippi and Florida. Chrissy, and hope I pronounced this correctly because I know I just connected with Rithia, Merrill Cass. Well, here we are. We're all starting to slowly trickle in. I'm excited. Uh, if any of you don't want to put Rithia on the spot, I know she just graduated and has a marketing background. Join us. Feel free if you want to join the conversation. Because as always, my goal is not only to be on stage, but to share the stage and allow for everyone to have an opportunity to be seen, heard, and remembered. Daniel, thank you for joining. Thanks for your loyalty and coming back each and every time we go live. I appreciate that. So, before we get started, why don't we start with introductions? Let's get this queued up here and get Kendra up. All right, let's move this over. Kendra, why don't you share with the community a little bit about who you are and your purpose?
Sure. I'll go a little bit more in depth in my background in email marketing today too, since that's the subject that we're hitting on. So my name's Kendra Noel, and I help service-based business owners with their digital marketing strategy. Of course, a big part of that and something that I talk about a lot, we've hit on it in the strategy session and in comments and on LinkedIn is email marketing. So I have been doing that for a number of years, serving different niches, and I've completed the HubSpot Academy training in email marketing, and I've just enjoy helping clients with their email marketing. So that's one of the reasons why I talk about it so much.
And that's why I enjoy working side by side with you because although we share difference of opinions, our skills combined just bring so much value. And everyone who's attended knows my sentiment and my feeling on emails. But hey, it's starting to grow on me. I went the other day to check how big my email list is, and lo and behold, I didn't realize there's close to 300 emails that I could start leaning into. And twist my arms. It's starting to grow on me. I'm
That's
starting
a
to
really
see
good
it.
start.
It's it's something that it's just, I guess, automation in the background. My between my Calendly and my website, it's been collecting them. I wasn't even aware of it.
Hmm.
So
Perfect.
I got to do a little bit of cleaning, and I'm sure we'll have a time and an opportunity to talk about cleaning up our lists. And if we don't, then I'm going to ask the question because I
Okay.
think mine needs cleaning. All right. So Myself, let's talk a little bit about Americo. I'm going to talk about Americo in the third person. Americo is a customer experience professional from his corporate roles, but I've transitioned and become a coach, and I've combined my passion for customer experience and the customer journey along with personal branding. And combining those two frameworks, I've now built a strategy that helps service based businesses, sales professionals, and even job seekers to be seen, be heard, and be remembered. I have this unique approach. Uh, some will call it a marketing funnel. I didn't think it was really a funnel, but when you say be seen, be heard, be remembered, you think top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. And you know what? It is working. I'm going to put out a post later this week. Maybe it'll be part of my weekly weigh-in, and I'll share as part of my social proof the changes and the shift in my strategy and how it's impacted my analytics. So stay tuned for that. All right. So uh, my content strategy, as some of you who are following me, has changed, has shifted. I'm no longer competing with my live events and my co-hosts as well as my content. My content now complement. Oh, look at that! I just right there, a little
That's
bit
okay.
of
It's always a struggle to
a hairdo malfunction. So my strategy has shifted, where I'm engaging my community with polls to see everyone's sentiment, everyone's thought and thought leadership around the subject matters that we host on our shows. And today's subject matter, as Kendra has pointed out, is going to be email marketing. So I put out a poll, which is still live. If you haven't had the chance to respond to it, jump in there. I'd love to see how much this changes between now and the time it closes. But the question was, what do you typically do when email marketing messages when they arrive in your inbox? And 30% of respondents responded to, I open them and read them immediately. Didn't think that number was going to be that high. And this is what has me somewhat intrigued as to how I can lean into my list and nurture it. Uh, 13% of respondents save the email for later. Now, between you and me, and this is me personally, I know that when I save something, I seldomly go back to it, especially when it's an email.
Mhm.
So, but if there are those who save it and take the time to go back to it, good, kudos to you. I don't know that I'm that disciplined. 35% of people responded with, I delete without reading. So that is leading the poll. But guess what they're not doing? They're deleting it. They're not reading it, but they're not unsubscribing. So you still have that window of opportunity to pique the interest and the curiosity. All you got to do is perhaps tweak your messaging or your style. So those respondents are telling us, hey, there's hope for you yet. You just haven't captivated me with a good enough hook to want to read.
Right.
Right?
And those hooks are super important. We'll touch on that as
And
well.
I'm sure you're going to dive into the hooks. Now, 23% of people unsubscribe, and that's where I found myself for the longest time. I would do a bulk delete, and my Google email address gives me the option to unsubscribe right from the get go, and that's what I typically do.
Mm.
Now, in some jurisdictions, there's legislation that says when someone unsubscribes, you have a number of days before you get that person off the list. But there are regions and workarounds that, wherever that server is sitting, it's the law of the land, and I somehow unsubscribe and still find myself getting weekly or updates. So I'll leave that up to those who oversee the compliance part of that. But I guess the point I'm trying to get at is unsubscribing might not be something I'm going to be doing as much, because it's an opportunity for me to learn, see, and observe what others are doing, so that as people like Kendra start to convince me. It's like, hey, you may want to pay a little more attention to this than you have in the past. At least I can learn from what others are doing, or avoid mistakes that others are doing. Because I
Right.
see right, I see those mistakes when I do journey mapping exercises, and I'll walk through the customer's journey, and I'll get an email, or I'll test an email campaign that someone is putting out, and I'm quick to judge because I get in the weeds and I kind of look at it from a different lens. So now it's an opportunity for not only for me to coach others, but to kind of lean into that and learn myself.
Mhm. And Retha has just said, "I voted, but my true response is I simply ignore it. I don't even bother deleting." And then Ennie's looking for sometimes people that he knows, he actually wants to get emails from. So that's a really good point.
Now, is that a reciprocal uh, suggestion? Like your intent is to get emails from people so that you too can return those emails and add those people to your list. Perhaps that could be a strategy. I'm not really well in tune with that. But enough about the poll. Those who have jumped in, thank you for responding. My friend Merrill, who's gonna let me give Merrill a shout out because I know he hasn't asked for it. But don't worry, Merrill, it's not going to be the crickets. I want to give Merrill a great cheer. He attends more live events than I even thought was possible with the hours in the day. He is inviting people, he is building community, and he is being selfless when he does.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, that's
thank you,
always
my friend.
appreciated.
Thank you. All right. Why don't we jump into this? I'm going to open my window and over to you. You tell me when you want me to switch the slides.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just start diving into it then. And like Americo said, if anyone else wants to join the stage, even though I'm presenting, going through the slides, feel free to jump in the stage and add your questions to the chat. So I'm framing this as the do's and the don'ts of email marketing just to keep it kind of interactive and fun. So we'll say for the first one, do keep it human. Ditch the robot talk and the jargon. Interject some humor. That's always appreciated in social media and email. Write like you talk.
Okay,
So,
can I ask a question?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I said I was going to shut up,
No, you're
but
good.
I have a question. Inject some humor. Now, how far can you take that? Because in many cases, you're sending out an email to someone you've never met, you've never engaged with. How
Mhm.
much is too much before you come across as being smarmy or smug?
Right. So I've seen some email platforms where you can insert a GIF or GIF in the email so that it's kind of interactive is because the like a short little video plays and you can make those funny sometimes. If it's an introductory email, it's the first time that you've emailed them, you may want to cut the humor out and get more direct to the point. But sometimes these people have been on your list for a long time and they want to know that you're human, there's a fun side to you.
Yes. Okay. Very good. There is a human side to it, uh, which I personally never. I've read about it. I hear people talking about it. I talk about personalization, trying to personalize it. But for me, personalization, for whatever reason, means something different. If you're just going to put my name on a email that everyone else is receiving, that's really
Mhm.
not personalizing other than adding my name. But if you inject some humor and you try to relate to me
Mhm.
and take me away from, hey, I've just presented a marketing or a magnet. I'm trying to get your attention. So it's almost like don't look over here, look over there, and humor is a great way to do it.
Right. And so sometimes you can just go with something you don't know that person and their what they find funny individually because you're going out to a broader list, but something your niche would find humorous would be a good way to go about it.
Now, we might jump into it, but I will ask the question: is it okay? And I think I know the answer to have multiple lists, because you might have a group of people that humor might not be the best approach. Like for instance, if I target job seekers, sales professionals, and business owners, what the business owner is looking for might not be as humorous as what the job seeker is looking for.
Yeah. So I have segment list on this slide as well. So you're going to like people who have become your clients who have onboarded with you are going to get a different set of emails than people you're trying to sell to. So that's one reason that you'd want to segment your list. I haven't given a lot of thought into who you would use humor with and who you wouldn't. But that's a really good point, Americo.
Awesome. All right, continue. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to zip
You're good. You're
it.
good. So, write like you talk. I have one email that I list that I subscribe to. So it's a marketing email that I get weekly that I just really look forward to receiving. And I always open it as soon as I get it because she's so like relational and tells you about like what's going on in her week. So it's not super salesy, but I look forward to reading it because she's such a good writer. And then make it conversational. Emails should feel like you're chatting with a friend. We already went over segmenting your list. Oh, yeah. And Retha says you have to know your audience. That's a really great point. And then finding the right platform. So that is a super important part. All of these platforms are have so much different to offer.
Fantastic. Make it conversational. Now, I can't say enough about that because sounding mechanical. Hey, when I was in the contact center industry and leading sales and service insurance reps, there's no worse feeling than to be on the other end of that phone line and knowing that someone's reading a script and it's not genuine or authentic. And the same thing happens when you're mechanical and you're if you don't come across as being cohesive when someone's reading your email, and it becomes painstaking, hard to read, and I just delete it.
Hmm. Yeah, and Annie made a really good point in his comment there. He said he's most likely going to reply with the most or the way that's most convenient for him. So maybe not replying directly to the email, but the end of your email should give people ways that they can contact you, whether it's your phone number or your social media handles. They may not want to reply to your email directly, but maybe they want to interact with you in different ways.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you, Annie, for adding that to the thread. Now, all right. I, I don't know if we're going to jump into it or if I'm getting ahead of myself. But what are your thoughts on to scrape or not to scrape emails? People pay for lists, and oh my goodness, are we going to jump into that?
Oh, it is in part of the slides. I guess it's not here on this next one, but that is a really good question. So when I was doing marketing before I started my own firm, but I was an employee hired to do marketing, I was actually taught how to do that, and asked to implement it. Now, it felt a little bit cringy to me, to be honest. And then once I started my own marketing agency and started having people request, can you scrape LinkedIn or other platforms to collect email addresses? I decided to not do that. There's a lot of reasons I don't want to get involved in that, but it just doesn't feel right to me. And I think there's a lot of regulations you have to be careful of as well.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I pop up in someone's email that I'm just the ideal client for them. It's like
Hmm.
I do not need farming equipment. I do not need surgical equipment. I'm a coach,
Right.
but I somehow find myself, and maybe it's what I'm writing or where I'm showing up in other people's feeds, and but and maybe I'm exaggerating. on the farming equipment, but you know what I mean. You find yourself on the end of a list that is trying to sell you something
Right.
that you have no connection to, no ties to, or worse yet, trying to sell you on the same service that you're providing.
Mhm. Yeah, so people out there can buy lists and they can also use crawlers, like web crawlers, to scrape platforms like LinkedIn. I just got two emails in my inbox today where it was very obvious that I had accepted them as a LinkedIn connection, and then they show up in my inbox with a generic email. And I'm like, no, that's not why I accepted your connection request. So I would advise against it. I don't think I find very many people who are in favor of having their email get scraped up like that.
Hey, and if there's any marketing professionals who are joining us live who are in favor or can optimize with good use a scraping list or a list that was scraped, I'd love to hear your side of the story as to why it works for you or why it's suggested that people consider scraping.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm going to jump in and drop the link again so that it's fresh and relevant. All right, continue while I
Okay,
drop it in.
sure, no problem. So let's talk about popular email marketing platforms. So I've used several of these and have clients using some of these. And I'm sure that people out there listening, that you also either use some of these or you use something different. So if you're using an email platform that you enjoy, please share that in the chat. Let us know what you're using so that we can talk more about that. A couple ones that I find really good for like an in-depth marketing strategy are HubSpot and Go High Level. MailChimp is also really good, has a user-friendly interface, and it's great for small to medium-sized businesses. I have a client currently using Flowdesk, and she's like a brand new to the email marketing game. And so I did some research and found Flowdesk being a really great one for beginners. So I'm running her campaigns through Flowdesk, and I really think that it is true that for like anyone beginning, even if you're not using a marketing firm or a marketer, Flowdesk would be a great option. Active Campaign I like because of all the integrations that you can use and the segmenting and the targeting. Active Campaign is really great.
I like it because its focus is customer experience automation. uh, you put the word customer experience in anything, you catch my attention.
Oh,
Now,
I was wondering if that was from experience or just from the description there.
no, it's kind of a mixed bag. Now,
Hmm.
I know HubSpot offers a free version. Mail do these other offer a free version? Because many times people ask, well, I'm just starting off, and I'm looking for something I can lean in that perhaps um, is relatively cost effective.
Hmm.
I know that there are people who use, I think it's Luma, and they use that. They're allowed up to 500 emails before they have to jump into a paid version. I know HubSpot has a free version. It's not as robust, it,
Hmm.
but I guess it's part of these organizations' marketing funnels just to get you in the door and then uh, provide value.
Right. Or a lot of them have starter levels
Yeah.
where it's very affordable to start out. As your list grows, you pay more um, and you get more features.
So I got to dig in to see who is running on the background of my domain because when I discovered the close to 300 emails, I'm sure something is running in the background. So I got to figure out who it is and how I can lean into this. So
Yeah, well, a lot of website hosts even now have their own CRM built in the background that you're able to utilize for email marketing. So, before you look into going to a third party, you may look at what you currently have to host your website and see if you have any availability to do email marketing Is it because if it's taking in information and growing your list, that is a really great place to start.
Yeah, so I guess I answered my own question for anyone who is worried about costs and managing operational costs. If you have a website, make sure that you're not going to a third party to buy something that you're already paying for.
Hmm. Let's see, Retha jumped in the chat. She said, I've used both HubSpot and MailChimp. I like MailChimp, but HubSpot is so easy to use and provides a mean to track everything. Yeah, their analytics are great, including your email works and your customers due to CRM programming. Yep. So that one, both HubSpot and Go High Level, their CRM that's attached to the email marketing is just really high level.
Awesome. Sounds like Retha knows her stuff as well.
Hmm.
If you're not connected to Retha, you may want to reach out and add her to your network. Let's give Retha a plug here. Everyone, say hello to Retha. Welcome her to your community. I believe she is open to work and would love to help someone make an impact. All right. So
Okay, so I will just say those were the platforms I listed. Of course, there's
let's go
more.
back. Yes.
Sorry. So definitely do your research, talk with a marketer, find out which one's going to be best for your business.
And if you had to choose, would you say there's a preference, or um, it's mostly pretty
Yeah,
much this pretty much the same? It's just the UI and the UX that changes.
yep. So it depends on what features you're looking for, how much automation you need. I integrated everything, my website and everything recently to Go High Level. I've really been enjoying that because there's no levels. Like I pay my one fee and I don't have to upgrade at any point. Where I really did like some of these others, but there's a lot of upgrades and fees involved as you scale your business. But like I said, Flowdesk for beginners, I think is really awesome, and the look of the Flowdesk ones. So if you are really into making your emails look really nice, have a great aesthetic, Flowdesk would be a good one.
All right. So for my friend Keith Keller in Melbourne, Australia, I know he's sleeping at this time, but he will listen to this on a replay. Let's get him to test out Flowdesk. He loves tech. He loves testing things out. He once, and I think still does, shares a similar sentiment on email. He's had little success, as have I. But I think my lack of success is due directly to lack of effort. So now that my mindset is changing, my effort changes along with it, and I'm sure that I'll be able to reap the rewards and see the value that email marketing brings. So I'm going to suggest this slide to him and let him decide if whether or not he wants to host some shows to test these platforms out, because that's all up in his wheelhouse. He loves testing tech and sharing with his community.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd love to see someone do some side-by-side comparisons and things like that of different platforms.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's. All right, let's do this.
Okay, so keep it short and sweet is basically all slide is saying. When you are actually implementing your emails, treat it like a coffee break. So get straight to the point. You know that they have things to go about and do throughout their day, so respect their time. Another thing is frequency, so don't interrupt their workflow daily. And each email should have one main message or one main point to target a specific need and have one main call to action. So you don't want to have your email have four different things that you're asking them to do because that just brings a lot of confusion.
Yeah, get to your point fast. Listen, I can talk and talk and talk, and I think that's why I was a keyboard warrior, as I used to refer myself to. I I can type just as much as I can talk, and as a result, uh, people get lost in what you're writing. So I totally agree the importance of getting to your point quickly. Listen, you're not writing a novel. You're not trying to immerse someone in a narrative that is going on forever and ever. If you're promoting your book, you want people to spend time immersed in your book, but not in your marketing.
Hmm.
Respect their time, and yes, it's not that easy. You only have a few seconds. Is it? I don't even know what the average is, depending on what publications you read. But our attention spans across social networks is a mere seconds. Some say it's 3 seconds, some say it's 6 seconds. And if you're not making an impact from the get go, people will
Hmm.
just pass you by.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the scrolling effect that we have on social media, I guess you scroll through your inbox as well, and decide whether it's worth giving your time and attention to. And I think that that just makes people's attention span even shorter than it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think they gave it a name. Don't they call that doom scrolling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
wow. It's made its way into the not only the Urban Dictionary but into just everyone's day to day. People, you say
Hmm.
doom scrolling, people know exactly what we're referring to.
Yeah.
Uh, Meryl, hi Keith Keller. Even though it's 5:30 in the morning, Wednesday morning, in Melbourne, Australia, America just gave you a shout out. Oh, thanks, Meryl. Let's get that man out of bed.
Yeah, he's
Here.
gonna he's gonna wake up to a shout out. That'll be great.
All right, it's time to wake up. Let's wake up Keith Keller. Keith, wake up. The rooster's crowing. I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that. All right.
All right. So we just talked a little bit about calls to action. So I'll jump into this slide. So do use a CTA that pops, turn clicks into adventures. So instead of saying click here, we'll go over this in another slide too, but click here is going to land you in the spam box. So there's, besides it being a boring call to action, it can also flag you. So don't use a CTA like click here. Try something more fun, like unlock your surprise or let's boost your business. Something like that that's going to have people clicking on the information that you're sending out.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You and I were talking about something along those lines when we were looking at the poll results, the unsubscribe stats. You had shared with me that uh, unsubscribing stats have improved
Hmm.
and fewer people are unsubscribing. Is it because our CTAs are getting better, or is it because spam filters are getting more robust?
Right. I
Hmm?
would say it's a combination, but the
I
fact
think
that the
so.
spam filters are getting so much better, I think that does drive the unsubscribe rates a lot lower. So when I started doing email marketing, unsubscribe rates could be, fairly high, and it was a big concern. I haven't seen that as much of a concern lately, and it's probably due to the spam filters. So people aren't even seeing it in the first place if you're not doing it right.
All right. Now you you sparked another question, and maybe we're going to jump into it. Or what's in your professional opinion? And I'm interested in hearing from the audience, any of the marketers. What do you find more important to keep an eye on, the unsubscribe or the open rate?
Open rate. Yeah. So unsubscribe's important, but that's a negative marker, right? The open rate is your positive marker. You want to see how many people are actually taking the time to open. And, I didn't put this in the presentation, but it's a really good point. On social media, amount of people that follow you who see your posts, a good average is about 3 to 6%. That's like normal as far as how you're showing up in the algorithm. So open rates, you're doing well to have 15 or 25% open rate, which sounds low, but if you consider it to how many people are maybe seeing your messages on social media, actually an advantage.
Yeah. So even if I were to take some round numbers and say 10%, and my list, which is nearing 300, that's 30 people that I wouldn't have reached if I didn't do anything.
Hmm.
Right? That's how you got to look at it.
Right.
Uh, I like how you refer to the positive markers. You always got to look at the positives that will attribute to your efforts.
Hmm.
Fantastic. All right. Anything
Yeah,
else, or am
Rita
I
has
on to the
put
next?
some really good CTAs here. Just saying the chat get started today. That sounds like a good one. And she said, yes, it's important to use good, solid, creative CTAs. Daniel says, but I love Click Here. I would advise against it.
All
Okay.
right, all right, Daniel. Here's the call. Why don't you click here and join us on stage and tell us why you like click here? And Retha, same thing. If you want to join the conversation, you're welcome to stay in the chat. We're happy to have you. But anyone wanting to join us and share what works with them, what they prefer, what they like, uh, share some CTAs. We'd love to hear them.
Mhm.
Drop them in the chat or drop them on stage. All right.
Okay, so part of that open rate is having a well-crafted subject line. So a subject line that sparks curiosity. So we have a couple do's and one don't here. So a do 5-minute hack that doubled our sales. Or you can insert a name in subject lines on most email marketing platforms. But I would say test it and make sure, like Americo and I have talked about this before, that it doesn't actually show up with high name in brackets.
Oh,
You want to make sure that
just want to.
make sure the name actually comes through.
I got one of those this week, and I cringe every time. And every time I get it, I get most of these emails are on a do not reply and bounce back as did, no reply. But if I know the person, I'll reach out to them and send them a DM or a text or an email. It's like, hey, got your email, uh, and it says name again. It's like so.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'll help out. I'll point out. I'll share my feedback where I can because it's a horrible experience. If you're trying
Right.
to pique curiosity, trying to raise awareness about of your personal brand, your offer, and it's, you talk about personalization. There's nothing more mechanical than a insert prompt that
Hmm.
has nothing inserted in it.
Yeah. Now, I think it's a really cool feature that you can actually insert a name in a subject line. Like that's something that didn't exist, when I first started, that when it first came out, I'm like, wow, that's a really great way to get their attention. But you're going to get the wrong kind of attention if it's not working properly.
Yes. So it's not only important to be seen, heard, and remembered, but what you're being seen, heard, and remembered for is equally important, if not more important.
Hmm. Yeah. And then the don't that I have listed here, and there's some different ways to say it, but in your subject line, just saying, here's our monthly newsletter, or this is March's monthly newsletter. Those kind of subject lines are not going to grab attention. So I would say that those are a don't. And Annie had put earlier in the chat something about avoiding newsletters like the plague. He said, I avoid newsletter emails, template messages like the plague. So he says, conversational is better. But if you do a monthly newsletter, like that's how you think of it within your organization, I would say don't promote it that way as far as when you're putting it out there to the people on your email list. Don't call it a newsletter, or put that in the title anywhere.
Yeah, my newsletter, it does not. Well, I don't email anyone right now, but I would not put my newsletter. The intent of my newsletter is to allow for that content to get picked up by web crawlers, and it's more SEO than marketing. So you're overdoing it if you're posting it on LinkedIn. It's getting picked up by the web. People can crawl if you put the right keywords in. People are going to find your newsletter. If you have it on your website, great. But to remind everyone, hey, here's the newsletter. Listen, you're going to put your community in some form of fatigue.
Hmm.
Like I tell people all the time, even when it comes to satisfaction surveys, it's like stop asking people how likely they are to recommend. Stop asking them how their experience is uh, at every single touch point. And the newsletter is kind of the same idea. In fact, and I know I'm kind of veering off, but I started once with a weekly newsletter. I'm now considering moving it to monthly because I'm running out of time, and this takes writing, crafting a newsletter takes time. But if my intent and my purpose is to use it as part of my SEO strategy, yeah, sure, the more you put in, the better it is. But too much sometimes sets people off.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, subject lines, you can have fun with them, and there's a lot that can be done with AI to make sure that you're testing them and having like a good solid subject line that is something that people are likely to click on.
So subject lines are almost, if we're going to compare, like your headlines on your LinkedIn profile. You really want to capture someone's attention,
Mhm.
and your title is the best place to do it.
Mhm.
Your subject line.
Yeah, your open rate depends highly on having a great subject line.
All right. Someone just popped into our YouTube channel and are watching us on YouTube. So thank you, whoever is on YouTube. We're multi streaming today on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. This is fantastic. Feel free, drop comments or questions in the YouTube feed, and we'll be sure to respond to those as well. Okay, so let's move. Don't get flagged by spam filters. Ugh.
Mhm.
Tell me more.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that can trigger that and get you landed in the junk folder. And that's where you're not even going to be seen or have a chance to be seen because most people might browse through real quick before they say delete forever because that's how it shows up in my inbox. I don't know about yours. But you have the things that go to spam, and if there's anything in there that you actually want, you can move it over to your inbox real quick. The rest are delete forever. But some people might not even scan through that. It might just be delete forever without a second glance at all. So these are common culprits. The use of the word free can be associated with scams. So even if it's free, you need to get a little bit more creative about how you say that. The word guarantee, win or winner. It says that they can be common fake lottery scams. So you might want to stay away from those words. Cash or money, urgent. So you do want to build some urgency with your offers, but you might stay away from the words urgent or act now. Earn money, click here. We're talking about that again, Daniel. Overused in phishing attempts. Limited time offer. Dear friend, that's again where it's just not personalized. Like Retha said, personalization is important, but you can't be lazy and leave the name here. So a way that some people get away with those triggers that insert the name is just saying something like dear friend, but again, that's very impersonal. Double your income, over exaggerations, or prize.
How many times have we seen 10 times whatever results that people are guaranteeing? So they're actually combining a multitude of these. They're making guarantees, they're making overzealous statements,
Hmm.
and great list. Now I'm going to keep a closer eye on the emails that come in, and be sure to delete forever those that are making these statements.
I'm gonna just jump over to my spam real quick and see what's in there that's just flagged as spam, see if any of these words are coming up. That's interesting. I have, "Hey, can we schedule a quick meeting?" Which I wouldn't think is necessarily spam, but my filter's saying that it is, and it's probably one of those that got scraped. And, so that's getting flagged. Interesting. AI and ChatGPT is coming up in my spam folder a lot too, as well as dollar amounts, 2,400 per month. So those are some statements you want to be careful with.
All right, so now you got me jumping into my spam folder,
Okay,
and
let's see what yours says.
here's what I'm talking about where I get scraped for unrelated um, things. I have an opportunity for any student looking to work. Great. I'm not a student. Haven't been a student for quite some time. If you see the beard, it's a little on the gray side. Not to say that you can't have grays and be in academia, but hey, you probably you're emailing the wrong person here. Just launched a lifetime deal, and there's a flame emoji. Like, all right, I'm not looking for lifetime deals. Let's see what else we got. We'll do one more here. Tap here for your special offer. Don't miss out.
Mhm. Do you see a lot with emojis? Like I've heard that overuse of emojis can be a big spam filter trigger. Most of mine only have like one, if any, in the subject line.
All right, yeah, there is quite a few. I see. Okay, one's using the star emoji, the flames emoji, um, headphones. Okay, so someone's on to me and my live strategy. Yeah, so there's, I'd say about a third of my spam list has headlines and titles with emojis on it.
Okay. That's interesting. So I think it's always interesting to dive in to see what is actually getting flagged. Visiting your own inbox spam folder may be a great way to see examples of what not to do.
Good point. You learn from what others are sharing with you.
Hmm.
If it's landing in your spam, then you know not to do it
Yeah,
or do less of it.
do less of it. Yeah, that's a really good point. So there may be some circumstances where some of these words may actually work well for a current campaign that you're running. So another thing to consider is if they have opted in to your list, and they actually open your emails frequently, these words may not trigger it to go to spam, but just be careful.
Fantastic. All right, we're good for time. So let's move on to the next one. Do test like mad scientists.
Yeah, this is a good one, and this will get you away from having those oopses where the name is not inserted and that kind of thing. Sending yourself a test email is always a great idea. And subject line experiments, we just kind of went over that, but I like to ask AI, like give me three subject lines that would be great for this particular email. And then I have my pick of the three, and I can tweak them a little bit and make them really relevant to the email itself. That's another thing I didn't put here, but sometimes the subject line is just clickbait and it does not match the email at all. So I would say you're going to get a high level of unsubscribes if it's at least not related.
Awesome. Guess what time it is?
All right.
Eh, We got someone at the door.
Who's there?
We're gonna let them in. All right, give us a second. It is. Let's see who's at the door. It's Daniel. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you all? You seem to be having a good time and very educational.
We're having a great time today, and we are comfortable in today's subject matter. And can't thank Kendra enough for putting this together.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for coming back to the stage.
Oh, sure. Happy to help. Thanks for calling my name out. My ears were burning, but that's a good thing in this case. Yeah. So yeah. Click here. Don't ever use that. And I know somebody from the audience was suggesting some other calls to action instead, which I just wanted to give one. I'm here really mostly to say I found a PS at the end, if it's a letter, a small letter, short letter type, after your name, or you know, thank you for your business, Daniel and the team, whatever it may be, and have a PS, because actually a good portion of people will scroll down to a PS.
We lose Daniel?
We might have. But I really liked the point that he was making, and I have found that to be true in DMs as well. So not just email marketing, but sending DMs, including a PS, can get a higher response rate.
Daniel, you froze on us. We'll let you
Uh,
continue. There you
I'm
are.
back. I just wanted to say that using a PS, if it's a letter type of email, using a PS is excellent, because it's great to have where your call to action is, and people will get used to you using a PS, and they'll actually scroll down to sort of see what is today's offer, and if they like it, then they'll go scroll back up and read the couple or three short paragraphs telling a little bit more about it. So that's just my 2 cents for today. Is a PS, a postscript, can really work in email marketing.
Listen,
That's a
my
great
friend,
tip.
add that one to my tab. I think I'm at a couple of bucks now. That your thought leadership is starting to build up a tab.
I love it. Just one other thing. Yeah, in fact, I have it right here. I use it a lot. It's a book, an actual paper book. It's called Words That Sell, is the title of it. Words That Sell. And it is just how to say something like a product is easy to use, and then it will give you literally 50 to 100 different ways of saying easy to use. Authentic, and it'll once again give 25 or 40 different types of ways of saying that same thing. So you'll always have something to say besides click here. It's called Words That Sell. The author's last name, Banyan, Bayan, and I know he did 2 or 3 volumes of it, so I hope that helps.
There you go. We put the Amazon link for Words That Sell in the chat, and we'll help the author out.
Very good. Well, keep up the good work, and I'm enjoying the show myself. I'm going to go back to watching.
All right.
Thank you so
Thanks for
much.
joining us.
Take care.
Hey, testing like a mad scientist. I can't begin to tell you the importance. Uh, I led a quality assurance team at one point in my career, and that's exactly what we did. And everyone thought that what my team was doing was so monotonous. And listen, you can't test enough the thousands and thousands of test cases that we went through for pretty big brand. Your reputation is on the line, your credibility is on the line, and I can't agree more with this slide. Test, but more importantly, have a cadence around testing, because sometimes links break, and things just don't work just because you tested it today at the launch. 6 months, a year down the road, if you're still using that link, something may have happened to it. It's always have a plan where you're at least revisiting something like this on an annual cadence. So whether it's email, and if you're using the same template for forever, or if it's your website or a call centers are very common as well. listen, customers want to get a hold of you. They want to be able to understand what you're saying, and you got to be clear on your subject. You got to be clear on um, what you're articulating, and nothing worse than a broken link or a discombobulated message.
Mhm. Yeah, I like just making that part of your best practices and the experience that you had working for larger organizations. I'm sure just gave you a great insight on what that's like.
Yeah, it did. I am very grateful for the time I spent on that side of my career. All right, let's move on to the next slide.
Okay. Well, this is just really wrapping it up here, which is good timing since we're about 5 minutes till the top of the hour. So, avoiding excessive explanation points or using all caps. All caps, some people take that as like aggressive. So, that might be something that you want to avoid. Um, and overstuffing your emails with keywords. You're not trying, emails aren't like searched. So, it's not SEO benefit or anything to just use a lot of words that your clients don't understand or that the people on your email list are going to, see as jargon. You don't need to worry about doing that. Keep a natural language in your emails. And then this last one, I don't want to skip over. It's super important, and that's ensuring your sender reputation is strong by connecting your DNS records and authenticating. This part is a little bit more technical than everything that we've touched on today, but it's super important to make sure that those DNS email records are hooked up right.
Fantastic. Avoid excessive exclamations. The caps, yeah, you're right. There are some people, and I don't know if it's a generational thing, but those all caps, it's like stop screaming at me. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, I get it. How about different fonts? There are two schools of thought. Some people will use different font style to grab the attention, and
Mhm.
others are saying stay away. Stick to um, more generic font types and styles.
Yeah, I would say whatever email platform you're using with what's within what they offer, I would stick to those. There's like third-party apps that you can go to change your fonts and get something super fancy. I see the thought process behind that. Like when people are just scrolling through an inbox full of emails, you want to stand out. But I don't know that using those third-party apps always comes across right. So, and I've even seen on social media, LinkedIn in particular, that they're getting rid of the use of that, being able to do those fancy scripts and fonts. So I would just go with what's available on the platform you're using. What do you think,
So
Americo?
yeah, I totally agree. It's even the emojis I have. I don't think there's a place for them, and it could be a sign of age. But I don't speak emoji, and I can understand it. I can piece it together, but it shouldn't be work to try to, like, if you're going to use it, but still say what you have to say.
Hmm.
Don't encrypt it with emojis so that people have to decode what you're trying to read.
Right.
Right. So, all right. So, uh, do you? I don't think we missed any questions. There is Rita has a comment that she just put in that she's heard that today trust is at an all-time low. You have to be authentic and you have to be honest, and I
Hmm.
I, I totally agree. And I um I can't stress enough how AI has maybe played a role in that lack of authenticity. Everyone is curating and creating uh, electronic or simulated versions of their message with sometimes with good intent, but the impact really falls flat, and
Mhm.
it impacts uh, that trust factor. People buy from others they like, know, and trust. We hear that all the time, and the sooner you earn that trust and you build that credibility, the sooner people are ready and prepared to talk to you. And I think that goes part and parcel with how I've tried to redefine myself, step away from that keyboard, and try to build trust through an audible and visual community. People get to see who I am, they get to hear how I view things, and if it resonates with them, then they get to reach out and know that, hey, I'm authentic. I bring my best self to each conversation. If I am not the expert that aligns with you, guess what? I have relationships in a community that I can introduce you to. Kendra, for instance, hey, if you have a need and support for an email campaign, uh, I can trust Kendra, and I can recommend Kendra, and that's part of what I'm building here. I've never, or nor will I ever say that I'm going to be an email professional and offer those services. That's just not my wheelhouse. But why don't you share how people can get a hold of you and Boomtag Media for their email marketing needs?
Okay, thank you. I'd love to. Um, you can get a hold of me on LinkedIn, of course. So just Kendra Noel. Boomtag Media is my company. So we do have a company page as well. Boomtagmedia.com is my website. And you can schedule a free marketing assessment by going to boomtagmedia.com or going to my LinkedIn page and clicking Meet with Kendra. So that first step, that free assessment, is a great way to just see where you're at and where you'd like to go with either your email marketing or your whole digital marketing presence online.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kendra. And anyone who likes or resonates with the customer experience and personal branding frameworks coming together and wants to get a better understanding how you can be seen, heard, and remembered, why don't you jump in, visit my website or my LinkedIn landing page, jump in my calendar, book some time. Let's have a chat and see how we can help you. All right, we are at the top of the hour. This has been a fantastic conversation. I know that we got a few other subject matters that we're currently working on in the coming weeks. If anyone is interested in hearing or learning about something that we haven't yet discussed, hey, send us a DM. We'd love to hear from you
That's a great idea.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what you'd like to to have us talk about. Better yet, if you found today's episode valuable, both Kendra and I would appreciate that you share the replay with your community, or just drop us a comment so that we can improve our reach and get into your community streams. So, on that point, I'm going to close the room. No more sound effects. Maybe a little bit of music to set us off. But for now, I want to wish everyone who is watching live and those who are watching on replay have a great rest of your day wherever it is that you're tuning in from. Take care, everyone.